Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Dhimas Dwyki. Here, I would like to present the 3 articles that I have summarized. The titles are Semantic Fields and EFL or ESL Teaching, the effectiveness of semantic mapping strategy to improve students' vocabulary mastery, and the last, semantic analysis in English high school handbooks. Okay, first, I will explain the first article, Semantic Fields and EFL or ESL Teaching. For introduction, Just Trier introduced the term lexical field or semantic field that he defined as a set of semantically related words whose meanings delimit each other. Thus, the meaning of a word can only be fully determined in the terms of contrast in which it stands with the other words in the field. From a diachronic perspective, this means that any change in the meaning of one word affect the meaning of the other word to which it is related. A semantic field is a set of words or lexemes which are related in the meaning. Semantic fields is also known as a word field, lexical fields, field of meaning, and semantic system. Semantic field more specifically is as a set of lexemes which covers a certain conceptual domain and which bear certain specificable relations to one another. The research method, this is a descriptive study using literature review as the method. The data were secondary in data in the form of document, including articles, journal, and books. The data were collected through reading and reviewing such documents. The data were then analyzed using a content analysis. Here are semantic fields. Crystal defines semantic field as theory as the view that the vocabulary of a language is a system of interrelated lexical networks and not an inventory of independent items. He also states that semantic field theory is also called lexical field theory. Who cites summarize Trier's semantic field theory as follows. First, the vocabulary in language systems is semantically related and builds up complete lexical system. This system is unsteady and changing constantly. Second, since vocabulary of a language is semantically related, we are not supposed to study the semantic change of individual words in isolation, but to study vocabulary as an integrated system. Third, since lexemes are interrelated in sense, we can only determine the connotation of a word by analyzing and comparing its semantic relationship with other words. A word is meaning only in its own semantic fields. Next, historical background. The linguistic approach to semantic fields was first founded by German scholars in the 1930s. The structures of a semantic field can change over time. Middle High German terms for knowledge changed greatly between 1200 and 1300. In 1200, German had no separate lexeme for the quality of cleverness. The language contained courtly skills and less non-courtly skills, and there was also wish for any form of knowledge, whether courtly or not, mundane in divine. 100 years later, everything was different. Wish had developed the restricted meaning of religious experience. Kunst was beginning to take on the meaning of art or skill, and vision, modern vision, had no more the meaning of knowledge. Liz had left the field entirely, as it had begun to develop pejorative connotations of its sense, cunning, and trick in modern German. It is also possible to compare two languages to see the way which they divide up a particular field. Here are English and German. It shows the comparison between the color system of English and literary dwells along a single dimension. There have been many philosophical and linguistic attempts to classify the concepts of word and a language, notably. Thesaurus of Peter Mark Roger defined the vocabulary into 6 main areas. There are abstract relations, space, matter, intellect, filiation, and affection. Each area was given detailed and exhaustive subclassification producing 1,000 semantic categories in all. Next, semantic fields in child's language. Children usually stop overextending their words at about the age of 2 until 6. They start to enumerable what's that questions. It is as though they have just realized that there may be words of all sorts of things for which they as yet have no names. This is the systematic outline of stages in the development of children's semantic fields. A child starts with one word, here bow wow, which he may limit briefly to one particular dog. Other children may start with the word for cat or sheep or another animals. After a while, the bow wow may be extended to other animals, but as more words are acquired, the child works there its one which and narrows domain previously covered by excreted bow wow extension. Next, semantics field and dictionary design. The English student, a pictorial dictionary, was organized in 15 semantic fields. The first of which, atom, universe, and earth, is divided into such subfields as atom, atmosphere, astronomy, meteorology, and each section consisting of a numbered list linked to a picture with numbered elements. The Longman Lexicon of Contemporary English was organized in 14 semantic fields. The first semantic field in this dictionary, life and living things, is divided into living creatures, animal or mammals, bird, and kinds of part of plants. Next, semantics fields and translation. It is important to deal with lexical structure of a language rather than with isolated words. Every language cuts up the word in different ways. This difference causes difficulties in translation from one language into another. The examples when translating English sentence, my uncle is here, in the Turkish, since the semantic field of kinship in Turkish differs from semantic fields of kinship in English. One who is going to translate this sentence into Turkish needs further information about the case whether uncles means father's brothers or mother's brothers. Next, semantic fields and vocabulary teaching. Tanner and Green suggest that vocabulary should be taught in lexical sets, and they state that we don't store words in our brains in alphabetical order like a dictionary does. Words that are related to joined together in our brains. If a new word can be hooked to words which are already stored, it might be easier to remember it. Tanner and Green state that words can relate several different ways, and they give the following examples by the topic, like for furniture, clothes, family, relationships, and animals. By similarity of meaning or synonym, like gorilla, chimpanzee, orangutan, ape. In pairs of sides, hold, cool, old, new, and hard, soft. In pairs of synonyms, slip, slide, rock, hearts, and booklet, brochure. In a series or a scale, boiling, hot, warm, cool, cold, freezing, and by subordinates like fruit and hyponyms like orange, apple, pineapple, banana, strawberry. By activity or process like step in making a cake or building a bookcase. And word families like paint, painter, painting. EFL or EFL's teachers should always remember that I mentioned above, human brain stores words in relation with others. If the words are taught in relation with each other as semantic fields or sense relations, EFL or ESL teacher facilitates students' learning of English vocabulary. For the conclusion, vocabulary items are interrelated, and some vocabulary items are so closely related that they can form a field of sense. However, the same semantic fields in the two different languages may differ in terms of items which are covered by semantic fields, and this may result in the difficulties in teaching translation and also teaching vocabulary. The next journal, The Effectiveness of Semantic Mapping Strategy to Improve Students' Vocabulary Mastery. Introduction. Laufer states that learning vocabulary is one of the most important elements with which neither comparison nor reduction of language is possible. As a foreign language, learning English is difficult for most Indonesians because it's very difficult and different from Indonesian itself. They find it difficult to memorize new words and to increase their knowledge of words. One of the reasons for students' low vocabulary mastery and memorization can be influenced by the teacher's strategy in teaching vocabulary. Some teachers might still use conventional strategy which cannot challenge the students to learn vocabulary independently, such as word list strategy. Word list strategy is a strategy which delivers lists of some difficult words and their meanings. Through this strategy, the teachers usually offer the meaning of the words only. Next, review of related literature. There are definitions of semantic mapping. Semantic mapping strategy allows the students to explore their knowledge of vocabulary by creating a map of words. It consists of diagram of displays a single word or phrase placed in the center as a topic, and another associated words are added in the form branch. Semantic mapping is a strategy for representing word concepts graphically. Next, the advantage of using semantic mapping. There are several advantages using semantic mapping in teaching learning process. First, representing ideas or views from a large group of participants or stakeholders in easy to interpret format. Next, help students brainstorm and generate new ideas. Third, encouraging students to discover new concepts and the propositions that connect them. Thus, allowing students to more clearly communicate ideas through information. Next, definition of vocabulary. Hatch and Brown state that vocabulary is a list of or set of words particular language, or a list or set or words individual speakers of language might use. Based on some theories, the writers define that vocabulary is a list of words which have meanings and used by individual or group to communicate with others, either in verbal or written communication. Next, vocabulary mastery. Vocabulary mastery is someone's ability to understand or to use words in a language. If the learners want to learn in a particular language, such as English, they should develop their vocabulary mastery first, because it will influence every step of process in learning language itself. Next, the importance of learning vocabulary. According to Laufer, learning vocabulary is one of the most important elements with which either comparison nor production of language is possible. And then the strengths of using semantic mapping in teaching vocabulary. There are some advantages in teaching vocabulary using semantic mapping. First, helping students to remember the words easily because it organized in some categories of words. Next, decreasing students' boredom in learning vocabulary. Third, helping students become active in participant in the class because they can have their ideas represented. Fourth, increasing the students' motivation to learn new vocabulary because of the attractiveness of semantic mapping because strategy in teaching vocabulary. Next is research method. The research design of this study was a quasi-experimental design. The population was the 7th grade students of SMP Negeri 4 Batang in academic years of 2013 and 2014. The samples was consist of 72 students, which divided into two groups. There were experimental group and control group. Next, the result and analysis. There are pretest findings. In the pretest, the students had to answer 20 multiple choice items in 35 minutes. The result of pretest in experimental design group got total scores 2,265 in doing pretest, and then for the pretest of control group was 2,275. The two groups had equal level vocabulary mastery before getting the treatment. Next, the implementation of the experiment. The treatment was conducted for meetings. Each meeting needed 80 minutes and had different material about vocabularies. There were 4 themes of vocabularies related to procedure texts that teachers gave to the students. Those were vocabulary about how to make a cup of tea, vocabulary about how to tie a necktie, and vocabulary about how to make cheese noodle omelette, and the last vocabulary about how to plant a flower every flower. Every meeting was given different topic. In control group, the conventional strategy by using word list was conducted in teaching procedure text. In addition, questionnaire was given to experimental group to know the students' interest and perception toward the implementation of semantic mapping strategy in teaching vocabulary. And the result of post-test findings, the student samples were accepted in 20 questions as similar pre-test, but the positions of question number were reshuffled. Based on the post-test result, the control group got total score 2,750, and the experimental group was 2,955. And it means the students' improvement of experimental group was higher than control group. Based on the post-test result, it can be concluded that semantic mapping was more effective to improve students' vocabulary mastery word list than word list strategy. Okay, next, mean scores difference between pre-test and post-test of experimental group and control group. The percentage of student improvement of this group was 19.17%. Therefore, there was a significant improvement between the pre-test and post-test scores achieved by students of the experimental group. In control group, there was less improvement than experimental group. The improvement was only 13.19%. For the t-test statistical analysis, it showed that there was a significant difference on the post-test result between experimental and control groups because t-value exceeds t-tables 3.292 bigger than 1.994. Therefore, there is a significant difference in vocabulary achievement between the students who are taught by using semantic mapping strategy and those who are taught by using word list strategy. Discussion of research findings. Based on the result of the means of experimental group was 62.91 and control group was 63.19. After the students received the treatment, the means of post-test score of experimental group was higher than control group. The experimental group got 82.8 and the control group got 76.38. An analysis of experiment. This strategy also faced some obstacles. The first, the teacher needs more time to explain the vocabulary by using semantic mapping. Second, the teacher should rewrite the vocabulary trees on the blackboard and it will be more difficult when applied in the semantic mapping by using pictures. It needs many copies and spends a lot of money. And the last, the students sometimes got excited during the activity in making semantic mapping so that they could not hear the explanation well. Analysis of questionnaire. After analyzing the result of questionnaire, it showed that 95% students were interested in learning vocabulary by using semantic mapping strategy and agreed that semantic mapping gave positive advantage to improve vocabulary mastery. And 85 students were motivated in learning English vocabulary by semantic mapping strategy. And 80 students suggest that semantic mapping strategy should be given continue the English material. And 89% students state that semantic mapping strategy was effective to help students to improve their vocabulary. Conclusion: there is a significant difference in vocabulary achievement between students who are taught by semantic mapping strategy and those who are taught by using word list strategy. The results show that the use of semantic mapping strategy is more effective than word list strategy to improve students' vocabulary mastery. Suggestion: first, for English teachers, it's highly recommended for teachers to use semantic mapping as an alternative strategy in teaching vocabulary because of its effectiveness to help the students to improve their vocabulary mastery. Secondly, for the students, they are suggested to apply semantic mapping strategy in organizing and memorizing vocabulary. Thirdly, for future researchers, they can use this study as a reference to guide them conduct similar research. Hopefully, the result of this study can help further researchers to find out new strategies about teaching vocabulary by using interesting strategies. And the last article, Semantic Analysis in English High School Handbooks. Introduction. One of the learning media mostly found in as material in teaching is literary work. This literary work can be found in the students' handbooks in the form of a short story, lyric, poem, song, novel review, and many more. Literary works are also widely used as one of the objects chosen as a media in learning the English. Literature cannot be spared from linguistics. It is because literature using language science or linguistics to convey the content and moral message and its beauty to the reader. This study was conducted to answer questions, uncover and explore ways to analyze the semantic meanings found in learning media or English material for high school students. According to Caca Sudarma, the meaning is the association that exists between the element of the language itself, while according Palmer, the meaning is only concerned with the element in the language itself. Lyons suggests that semantic is a study of the meaning of sentence, so the understanding of semantics gives an understanding of the study of meaning in sentence. The 7 types of meaning divided by Jeffrey Letts in his book Semantic Study of Meanings as follows: conceptual meaning, connotative meaning, social meaning, affective meaning, reflected meaning, collocative meaning, and thematic meaning. Lexical semantics are semantic studies that focus more on discussion of meaning system found in the word. The lexical semantics observe the meaning contained in the word as independent unit. Semantic includes the meaning of the word, its development, and its change depending on the content and the context of the object. In this case, literary works as an object or medium of learning in English language teaching materials. The semantic role is very important in literary studies, especially in the study of meaning. There are 2 kinds of meaning. There are literal meaning and non-literal meaning. The literal meaning is the real meaning of words, when non-literal meaning is unreal meaning of words. It is called figurative language, which includes metaphor, irony, hyperbole, and etc. When literal meaning includes denotative, grammatical, lexical, connotative, contextual, and etc. And for the research method, this study was used descriptive qualitative method. This method of research was chosen because the research data was descriptively based on the fact that it's obtained in the form of writing. The data obtained in form of word, phrase, clause, and sentence were not poured in the form of numbers or statistical numbers, but rather remained in a qualitative form. The data were analyzed by describing the situation examined in the form of a narrative description. Okay, next, research finding and discussion. Here are the semantic types of meaning found in the literary works within the English teaching material used by high school students. First, Bahasa and Sastra Inggris untuk siswa SMA or MA kelas 11.2 Irama Widya publication. For Sleeping Child by Michael Learns to Rock metaphor, but you've built your own paradise. This metaphor used is directly expressed an analgesic comparison. Next, hyperbole. The words so wild. Children will remain innocent even as the word gets longer nearer the description of adult due to war and conflict among others. Next, personification. And Mr. Words he came by to greet good night to you. In above, You give line of the word borrow roles as a human duty to convey greetings to the child who will sleep. Next in fable, the boy who carried wolf. Here found lexical meaning, being alone. The clause above, the clause mean alone and lonely. Next, connotative meaning. Here shouted the boy at the top of his voice. The meaning of the sentence is the shepherd heard the child screaming until his voice is lost. And then nobody bothered him this time. This means he is no longer hurt because he likes to lie, so when he needs help, then nobody comes to him. Next is grammatical meaning. A shepherd boy means a shepherd child who follows grammatical writing rules in the sentence structure in English. The second book, English Alive Senior High School Grade 12, 3, Penerbit Yudhistira. First in story review, August Rush reviewed by Jeffrey Chen. Here are found connotative meanings. Houses often. These words are merged. It means a quaint house. And lexical meanings. Full length. When both words are combined, it means leg. Next contextual meaning. 3 feet high. If combined means something high. And then in the story review, Ryan lecture on course for second code. Here I found contextual meaning. There are split true lovers, mean the true love that parted. Left learned even leading the lesson. China's sons. This means the Chinese pride. And then after a week of sunshine, it means a week after summer. And then connotative meaning. Out of wedlock boy. It means illegitimate boy. And then lexical meaning. Here slippery. It is wet condition lost time after rain until dry can operate it again. Prelims, preparatory exams. Freestyle, one of the swimming styles used in the swimming sports. Like, however, one of symptoms of an attack of a pathogen in plant is characterized by change in plant physics that begin with the screen of plant leaves. Next, diuretic furan. Furosemide. It is a potent diuretic used to remove water and salt from the body. And then in the fable Lion and the Dolphin, here are personification. The rules of the sea. These words are combined into one, then it means the owner of the sea. And then the denotative meaning. In friendship relation, we must always be positive-minded with each other, and a friend must know the limitation of his friends. And the third in books English for Senior High School students 11 Science and Social Study Program, Jakarta Grasindo. Here are found short story in short story Queen of Adriatic. Here are found metaphor like city of water, city of brides, the city of the lakes. And in denotative meaning, here are Salos Lagoon, Venetian travels. And in contextual meaning, in a friendship relationship, we must always be positive-minded with each other, and a friend must know the limitation of his friend. And in short stories, Jaguar. Here are found lexical meaning. There is distance to their residence from protected forest. And in grammatical meaning, latter led to a dispute, and ordinary leopard kills prey. And in the last contextual meaning, this is a leopard loves to roar. The conclusion and suggestion. The conclusion that can be taken based on finding and discussion are as follows. First, most common types of meaning found in this study is lexical meaning or literal meaning and metaphor for non-literal meaning. Literary works found in English high school handbooks were short story, fable, songs or lyric, and stories or novel reviews. Okay, after explains those two articles, I will compare among 3 journals here for underlying theories. The first article, just Trier, introduced the term lexical field that Dwyki defined as a set of semantically related words whose meanings delimit each other. Norquist's semantic field, more specifically, is a set of lexemes which covers a certain conceptual domain and which bear certain specificable relations to another. Then Brennan gives more examples of lexical field, like part of the face, states of lives, butter, clothing, and jewelry. There are many examples, there are many written in the article. And the second article, according to Graves, semantic mapping is one of the most powerful approaches to teach vocabulary because it engages students in thinking about word relationships. Winter asserts that semantic mapping represents a graphic teaching strategy which has been devised to help learners build the conceptual connection they need to decipher any words completely. And the third, one of the learning media mostly found in material teaching is a literary work. Literary cannot be spared from linguistics. It should emphasize that language is means of communication that use literature to convey its content and beauty. According to J.J. Sudarma, the meaning is association that exists between the element of the language itself, while according to Palmer, the meaning is only concerned with the element in the language itself. Lyons suggests that semantics is a study of meaning of sentence. So the understanding of semantics gives understanding of the study of meaning sentence. Tarijan suggests that semantics are meaning. For research method, the first article, this is descriptive study using literature review as the method. The data were secondary data in the form document, including articles, journals, and books. Second articles, the research design was quasi-experimental design. The writer used vocabulary tests and questionnaire. During the treatment, the student in experimental group used semantic mapping strategy, while student in control group used word list strategy. And the third article, this study used descriptive qualitative method. This method of research was chosen because the research data was descriptively based on the fact and that it obtained in the form of writing. And then the finding. First article, the data were secondary data in the form of document, includes article and books. The researcher describes semantic field, historical background, semantic field in child's language, semantic fields and dictionary design, semantic fields and translation, and the last, semantic fields and vocabulary teaching. The second article, in the pretest, students had answered 20 multiple choice items in 35 minutes. The result of the pretest experimental group got total scores 2,265. The total scores of pretest in control group was 2,275. Based on the post result, the control group got the total score 2,750, and the mean score was 76.38. The total score of experimental group was 2,955. This group got mean score 82.8. It means the students' improvement of experimental group was higher than control group. From the article 3, third article, here are semantics types of meaning found in the literature within English teaching material used by high school students. First, bahasa and sastra Inggris untuk siswa SMA MA kelas 11.2 Irama Widya publication. In the Sleeping Child by Michael Learns to Rock, here found metaphor and hyperbole and personification. Fable Boy Who Cried Wolf found lexical meaning, connotative meaning, and grammatical meaning. And the second books, Story English Alive, Senior High School Grade 12, penerbit Yudhistira. In the story of the study review August Ross, reviewed by Jeffrey Chen, connotative meaning, lexical meaning, and contextual meaning. And story review Ryan lecture on course for second code, here found contextual meaning, connotative meaning, and lexical meaning. And the fable Lion and the Dolphin, here found personification and denotative meaning. And the last book, English for Senior High School Students, 11 Science and Social Study Program Jakarta Edukasi Video, that are found in short story, The Queen of the Adriatic. Here are found metaphor, denotative meaning, and contextual meaning. And then short stories, Jaguar, here are found lexical meaning, grammatical meaning, and contextual meaning. And then for the conclusion, the first article, vocabulary items are interrelated and some vocabulary items are so closely related that so can form a field of sense. However, the same semantics fields into different languages may differ in terms of the items which are conferred by semantic field, and this may result difficulties in teaching translation and also teaching vocabulary. Second articles, there is a significant difference vocabulary achievement between students who are taught by using semantic mapping strategy and those who are taught by using word list strategy. The third article, the conclusion that can be taken based on the finding discussion are as follows. First, the most common types of meaning found in this study is a lexical meaning for literal meaning and metaphor for non-literal meaning. And the second, literary works found in the English high school handbooks were short story, fable, songs, lyrics, and stories or novel reviews.